What do you think would happen?
What do you mean? Do I think my wife would do something physical about it?
Something. Would she do
Sure,
anything?
but that
Okay. Is
but
your wife responsible for raising your children?
Lord have
Is
mercy.
your
Yeah,
wife
I'll address each
responsible
one
for
of
raising
these.
your
In fact,
children?
I'll go through this whole thing with you
Hold on
just
a
to
minute. Just answer the question. Is your
I'm
wife
going to. I'm going to
responsible
give
for
you
raising
yes or
your
no. Hang
children?
on, stop. I'm going to give you yes or no's to each of these just to demonstrate how absurd this line is when I fold it
Sure.
back on you. So here we
Sure.
go. Yeah, I'm sure my wife would get really mad and do something about it if somebody came between me and my kid. Next one. Next question.
Is toxic masculinity a problem? You do not want to miss this. Andrew Wilson and Leslie go nuclear over toxic masculinity, gender roles, competition, and what men are actually supposed to be. Before we throw ourselves into this debate, YouTube shows me nearly 99% of my viewers are not subscribers. Independent media counts on supporters like you to keep growing. So like and subscribe for daily videos, and welcome to America Only.
All right, welcome back to Modern Day Debates. We got a fun one tonight, guys. We are going to be talking about toxic masculinity and if it's a problem. We got Leslie on the affirmative, Andrew on the negative. And typically, the way we do it is going to be 5-10 minute openings, 60-minute dialogue, and then you guys send your super chats over. We'll ask the debaters what their answers are to those. And without further ado, we're just going to get right into it. After reminding you to like, subscribe, and get your tickets to DebateCon 8, come see this gentleman in this box up here. He's one of the headliners. It's going to be really awesome in Dallas in July. So we got tickets in the descriptions. They're going to be posted through the chat. And we appreciate y'all being here. So without further ado, Leslie, go ahead and get started on your opening statement. I will hit the timer as soon as you start talking.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. So, in response to whether or not toxic masculinity is a problem, the answer may be to simply just embrace the concept of living in a matriarchy. Girls and women must be aggressive, tough, and stoic and seek domination. Just women and not men, because we don't want our men like this. We'll turn a blind eye to the fact that these traits unharnessed will wreak mental and social havoc on men and society as a whole. Suicide rates will climb among women, and there will be an uncanny connection made between their behaviors and the fact that they'll, by large, perpetrate most violent crimes.
Yeah, it's such a stupid idea for women to be against toxic masculinity because they're not always against it. Like what happens when they need to change a tire or they're getting ripped off at the store and they need a husband there to show force. Or if you have some potential robbers casing your house. I mean, yeah, you need that toxic masculinity when you need it, but you act like you never need it. That's wrong.
I think, though, it is just best that we ignore this fact and we'll just let women prioritize dominance and control of people, places, and things by all means necessary. In this matriarch, we can create workplaces dominated by women, where men follow the unwritten rule that women making inappropriate, unwanted, threatening, or better yet, violent advances towards men. They can do this and sometimes dangling promotions as a reward for putting up with it. They'll just have to suck it up and deal with the fact that this is the behavior they should come to expect if they are working in female-dominated spaces. Of course, years later, men may be compelled to create a movement against this. We can call it, I don't know, Me Too, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. Probably we'll do our level best to just trivialize it or downplay it as BS males' rights activism. Only men who submit to their wives are ideal and should be considered good, worthy, and marriageable. Unfortunately, this mentality has not picked up enough steam in the 21st century, so it is our duty, our priority as women, to recruit as many outspoken and fed up misandrists as possible and start demanding that the authority of women be recognized as the ultimate authority to our lost, wayward modern men.
Is she serious? Like, she's not kidding, is she? I mean, talking about forming a matriarchy where men are subservient to women and they understand the power dynamics have changed. I mean, you show me one mother-led household in an urban city that is successful and that you want to replicate. Yeah, and I will totally concede on the issue, but it's just like, what is she talking about?
After all, they are lowly inferiors who need our guidance and should be treated as such. Let's start building momentum. Perhaps there is an Andrea Tate out there, maybe an Andrea Wilson, who can take up the cause online and start recruiting girls and boys, but especially girls, to embrace our agenda to instill a matriarchy where misandry is interchangeable with what it means to be a real woman. Obviously, what I just said is satire. I'm not a proponent of anything I just said, but could you imagine trying to normalize such toxic behavior?
Okay, she was kidding for those of you that can't speak half African. But I mean, these ideas are out there. Like a lot of people, they defend new hip hop, new rap with all the ladies in it. It's like, oh, well, the men rapped about this too. And it's like, yeah, but the ones that we actually liked and like held into high regard were not like that. Like, that's just lazy writing. And that's a lazy excuse just to say, oh, well, you did it, so I do it too. Like, I thought we believed in being the bigger person in these situations.
Well, you can brace yourself because this has already been happening by way of the notorious byproduct of the patriarch called toxic masculinity. So, to define masculinity, that's a set of attributes, behaviors, and roles that are culturally associated with men and boys. So, traditional masculinity norms, they ask for men to project items like strength, dominance, stoicism, independence, toughness, and being powerful. Toxic, of course, is causing death or serious debilitation, extremely harsh, malicious, or harmful. Put that together, we get toxic masculinity, which there are a lot of definitions online, but I kind of found one that sticks. Toxic masculinity refers to a collective of offensive, harmful beliefs, tendencies, and behaviors rooted in traditional male roles, but taken to an extreme. The simplest way that for me to explain it is basically where masculinity, which generally speaking is actually good. It's basically, as the saying goes, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So the primary reason that it is a problem is because toxic masculinity is a problem is because it is socially destructive. And I'm going to elaborate on that over several points. First, I'll get into the economic impact. So,
all right, we're going to skip ahead just a little bit, Lion Queen. I'm sorry about your dad and the stampede. All right, here we go.
Let's pretend that we have Ted the accountant, and Ted's a swell fella. He's moderately handsome, and he's in decent shape, and he's super nice to everybody. Doesn't show any signs of toxic masculinity. Ted's a pinnacle of his community. Now let's compare him to Conan the Barbarian, whose opening line when asked what is best in life, Conan said, "To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women." Now, that's a pretty toxically masculine thing to say. But who do you think the woman's more likely to go home with? Ted, the nice, sweet accountant? Or Conan the Barbarian, who comes home and bends her over while he still has fresh blood from his enemies in his hair and beard? My guess is that most of them are going to be going home with Conan. I think they would opt every time for Mr. Toxic Masculinity. And I think women just like to cope. Now, you can appeal to my morality and you can say, that's not how a person should live their life. And yeah, I would agree, it's not. But the shit I believe is even more toxically masculine than that. It's even worse. God's a man from my view. He incarnated as a man. Church is a patriarchy. Men are the heads of households. Men have ultimate authority in society. Women shouldn't be involved in church authority or be pastors or priests. And so even if I devastate a red pillar or somebody like this on their material-based and hollow worldview, I'm still appealing to an even more toxically masculine worldview. In the end, though, how can...
Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of these toxic masculinity believers, they just think the smallest things are so extreme. It's kind of like, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I heard a lot of people say, oh, he was an extremist. He was a national schmotionalist, and it's like, dude, you don't know how extreme it gets. Like, you need to break out of your bubble and like look into all these small groups that the media doesn't talk about, because you guys have it so twisted, and that's why we can't joke about certain things anymore. We can't even do certain things without being accused of being toxic. It's just nonsense.
You say we need less of it when the toxically masculine men, Christian or not, seem to get all the cash, fame, and women they want. And the empathy first dipshits don't seem to get nothing. So, what is the appeal here exactly from the egalitarian, agnostic, or atheistic lens? That's what I want to know, because all the evidence I can see goes right in the face of the idea toxic masculinity is bad, at least not bad for men. Maybe it's bad for women. maybe that's the case she wants to make, is that it's not great for women. But ultimately, like, what are you going to do about it? Half the world owns half of the world's women, and they can't do shit about it. So it's not like you could do anything about it either. You can't do anything about the default setting of humanity. Bunch of the arguments that she made also don't make sense. She talks about all the negative outcomes that could possibly happen to humans, but she negates to talk about the primary outcome that we want, which is reproduction. And women don't reproduce with men. They don't want to fuck. So there has to be an attraction basis. If they don't want to fuck you, they're not going to have your babies. And
Exactly. I mean, thank God for testosterone. Am I right, guys? It's like, if we had a world led by these type of women who just acted on emotion and feeling and just, ate in any word salad that was in the media that week. Like, could you imagine the state of affairs? I mean, it would be like, the ancient Incans or, Egyptians with child sacrifices. Like, they're trying to devolve back into that state.
And it seems that women seem to gravitate towards men who have all these toxic masculine traits, have sex with them, and have their children. That's what happens over and over and over again. So I don't really know how it is that you're going to make the case that reproduction is not the primary edict, because it certainly seems to be, and everything that you listed seems to be only trivial or tangential in relationship to reproduction. I understand it was something of a clever tactic to bring up, if it was a matriarchy, that if we instilled these things from a matriarchal role, that men would consider them toxic. But I consider this to actually be a logical impossibility, because the standard is that women will always have to appeal to men to even have a matriarchy, because basically is based around whether or not men decide to let them have one or not. There's very little women can do about that. She also ignores biological distinctions for how the sexes tend to divide themselves and organize themselves. And so even in the idea of matriarchal societies, there's no reason for me to believe that there would be a biological flip, or that for some reason women who tend to guide with empathy before they do any of these supposedly toxic masculine traits. You see, she didn't reject biology because she said men must be inherently violent.
All right, we're going to skip ahead. This is a long video and we are running out of time, but I definitely want to get some more points in.
But your wife is a protector, correct? Or is she not? What would happen if me or someone else tried to get between your wife and your child? What do you think would happen?
What do you mean? Do I think my wife would do something physical about it?
Something. Would she do it?
Sure, but that,
Okay.
so,
Is
but
your wife responsible for raising your children?
Lord have mercy.
Your
Yeah,
wife
I'll address each one of these.
responsible
In
for raising
fact,
your
I'll go through this whole thing with you.
Hold on a minute. Just answer the question. Is your
I'm
wife
going to give you yes or no.
children?
Hang on, stop. I'm going to give you yes or no's to each of these, just to demonstrate how absurd this line is when I fold it back on you. So here we go. Yeah, I'm sure my wife would get really mad and do something about it if somebody came between me and my kid. Next one. Next question.
Okay. Is your wife solely responsible or primarily responsible for raising your children?
Sure.
If anything goes wrong, like at the school or something, who are they gonna call?
My wife.
So she's a protector.
Oh, okay. Wait a second. Now I've answered all of those questions, right? Yeah, with yes or no, right? You agree that I did that. So I want you to
How
do
is
this.
she not a protector?
Hang on. So I want you to do the same thing for me.
I mean, everything you listed is just basically the descriptions of an errand runner.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. All right. Man breaks in at night. Who's going to confront man at night? Me or the wife?
More than likely you would.
Okay, more than likely I would. If there's a serious crisis, who is going to probably be the one who's acting in that crisis for the protection of the entirety of the household, me or my wife?
Based on your setup, maybe you would.
Okay, me. Got it. If it was the case that there was an issue which was going on at school with a male child that I had, which was the dominion of bullying, who do you think would be more likely to express how to deal with that bullying situation to the male child, me or my wife.
I don't know, because she's the one who's responsible for raising him, but obviously.
Well, so you made a bunch of conflation errors. The
I
first
said I
is,
don't know.
yeah, okay, that's fine. The first conflation error you made is formative years. The wife is responsible for raising the children in the formative tender years, where they have to protect them from things like sticking their finger in the light socket, but they're not protecting them from diminutive threats, which mean wolves, fucking the things that go bump in the night and will kill you, and the people who are out there who will kill you. They're not protecting from that. That's the men who are protecting from that. They're protecting kids from not bashing their own heads in and eating the poison stuff under the sink.
Wow, that one was a fun watch. We just watched Andrew Wilson completely debunk toxic masculinity with Leslie. I believe she is some internet debater. But yeah, let me know what you think below. Do you like videos like this? If so, please like and subscribe. We are a new channel and we are growing by the day. But as you can see here, only about 1.4% of my viewers are subscribers. So I would appreciate the support. Thank you for watching, and it's not America first or America last, but America only. Catch you on the next one.